Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Victor Alemani.
And we're back to another episode of The Hated Truth. What's up, guys? It's your boy, Bello J3.
It's B. What's up, guys?
What's going on, guys? It's Victor Alemani here.
Oh, damn. I mean, damn.
Oh, we got to
jump in the gun.
Yo,
Cut you off?
Yeah.
Yo, Bajoneer would never.
I know, right?
Bajoneer would
That's
never.
crazy. Well, guys, we have a special guest today. I guess he introduced himself, and we'll go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Again.
Now.
Yeah,
Again.
so I don't cut you off. So, what's going on, everyone? My name is Victor Alemani, aka known as VM Cruz, which is my author name, also known as Cafecito Black from Us You Digital. And I guess we'll be jumping in and discussing all of my different hats that I've been wearing and decided not to wear throughout the year. So we got some interesting stuff for you guys.
Yeah, and I think it's very important that you pointed out that it's different hats, because in this day and age, there's a lot of people that started diving into different activities, different hobbies, and especially since COVID had everyone locked in, everyone picked up new tips and tricks and started doing things and took to social media, and you can see everything, right?
Reinvented themselves, to say the least.
Of course.
And what better time than actual quarantine time to see what hobbies you can, as we say, right? What pastimes you can turn into profits, right? So that's always the goal, to see what your hobbies are, what are your strengths, and if you can profit and monetize from them.
No, I completely agree. I mean, just to dive right into it, what does Jack of all trades mean to you?
So, about 2.5 years ago, I wrote a book called Jack of Too Many, which is from the derivative of Jack of all trades, and pretty much a Jack of all trade has pretty much a negative connotation, which is someone who is, in a way, all over the place, has many multiple hobbies, and is is a master of many things. I'm sorry, is mediocre at many things, but never a master of one. What truly inspired my book, and I guess we'll get into it later, maybe I'm a little ahead, but there was this book, I forgot the author, but it was called One Thing. And at the first page, he said, if you chase 2 rabbits, you will catch none. And, everybody can interpret that differently.
Of course.
But to me, that meant, kind of being all over the place, going left, going right, going left, going right, right to left. You never find yourself really executing a task, to say the least. So yeah, a jack of all trades, to answer your question, is someone who's a little chaotic in their purpose and really can't find what direction they're going in life.
Gotcha. That's like chasing 2 women.
What?
Chase 2 women.
Sometimes you can catch 2, though.
It's like a catch-21.
No.
You try, but that 22 pop up.
I bet. I'm sure there's a lot of men out there listening to this saying, I can catch 2 women. That's not an issue. They're not rabbits. No, but
yeah, that's a great problem to have then.
Rotations. Anyways, going back to what you were saying about chasing 2 rabbits, or wearing different hats and all this stuff. What makes you think that, or what was the time in your life that you had all these hats on?
Yeah.
What was that?
So I think when you're doing too much, and you're not really reaping the benefits with something that I call capital ID. And I'm sorry to use my book's jargon, but I always go back to this. For example, when they say your name, right? When they say Jose Bello, what's the first thing that comes up to people's name, right? So I'm gonna shout out 2 great brothers that I'm really close with. For example, if we say Louis Blanca, right? His capital ID is
Artist,
right? And I'm gonna shout out our good friend Goose, right? When you say Goose, what's his capital ID?
He's a barber.
He's a barber, right? That's it's engraved already.
We should bring Goose on this.
Now, when they say your name, right, and that's me in retrospect speaking to myself. People only said the traits that I possess, which were great, right? He's a good guy, awesome brother, phenomenal friend, all great qualities to have. But I didn't have what I like to call capital ID, which is what jumps out of people's people's mind as soon as they think about you. Yeah. And that's when I knew that I was doing too much of too many things that weren't really coming to fruition or manifesting the way I would. And I guess we'll get into where I felt I was the most distracted, why I felt I was the most distracted, and something that I like to call, the shiny object syndrome, which is not my word, but is, I think we all heard it before, right?
Yeah.
Shiny object.
So then, when was the point you realized or made the decision to dedicate your time to a specific trait?
Yeah,
leading to that.
Or what was the
shiny-
aha moment? I
Yeah.
guess you would say.
Wow.
So I think before I had the aha moment, I was feeling very, very mediocre.
Okay.
I was just feeling very mediocre in everything I did. I felt like when I jumped into a hobby, it started to feel like, oh man, did I do this on impulse again? Did I do this on impulse again? Like I didn't really, I didn't think this through. And I think the aha moment, Braulio, was that at the same month where I published my book, my business, which is a photography and videography business with our good friend Nelson Sanchez, known as Us 2 Digital, which is already 3 years in. The same month where my book was self-published, I also started my LLC for my business, and I had to decide at that moment: am I gonna be a hypocrite, right, and not pursue this business, which now Nelson is investing as well. I can't waste his time now,
Correct.
right? And coincidentally, he's also dealt with like jack of all trades syndrome throughout his life as well, right? Which is,
100%.
everybody's going left, we go left. Everybody's going right, and it's not a followers mentality. It's more like you kind of try to find your purpose,
Of course.
right, and see what you're good at, and then you start peeling
Where
off
you
the
fit
skin
in.
of each layer until you find whatever your niche is, right?
course.
And I think we had that aha moment when we found our niche. We found something we really love, which is wedding photography and videography, capturing people's story, telling people's story, promoting people's businesses, and that was our niche. Once we felt that gratification from that business, we knew it was just.
But that happened through, experience and going through it and putting yourself out there.
Correct.
Now,
And it was happening simultaneously as I was promoting this whole master of one, jack of all trades, instead of master of none, which I guess we can touch base later. But the old jack of all trade is a master of none. The new jack of all trades is a master of one, and I can explain the difference as we unfold this conversation.
So now here's the next question then, and this might be a little harder to answer, is we don't have all the time in the world to find ourselves, right? To find what our passion is going to be, and you were lucky enough to actually find it through, I'm going to say, a limited amount of tries, right?
Well, you can say failure through failure.
Through failure, yeah, right. And how would you recommend or advise someone to find their passion when they don't have all the time in the world to go through every profession or every career or every hobby or every trend that's out there, right? So how do you depict that? Like how do you narrow it down?
I'm not gonna lie. That is, first of all, an amazing question, very well formulated, and I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I'm not gonna pretend like I have the answer, because I can sit here and probably give an ill-advised answer. But my story was that I had to kind of figure out what I didn't want to do first,
Yep.
and then find my way with, oh man, I kind of really love this, right? So I'm not sure. I guess the best way, and maybe being politically correct about it, is everyone has to find their story, right? It might not be the same story as mine, which is like you said, process of elimination. 'Cause we don't have all the time in the world.
Yep.
But that was just the way that I kind of stumbled into my aha moment by eliminating my jack of all trades behavior. So that was my story, but I don't have a correct answer for everyone. I don't want to misinform or mislead anyone. But it is true. How much time do you have before you say, this is not for me, this is not for me, oh, this is it? We don't know how long. We don't know how you reach that eureka moment, right?
Now, when you were bouncing off of doing this and that and this and that, were they just things that were being sprouted out, or was it stuff that you actually were interested in?
Yeah, great question. Great
Because
question.
I know you know people that like many things, and that's fine to dive into each one. At that point in time, you have the time to do that because you enjoy, and maybe it would be a failure, but it's not time wasted.
Yeah, no, it definitely never felt like time wasted. It felt like I was invested in it. Some people invest more, whether it might be time, whether it might be money, whether it might be passion, whatever it might be. But everything that I did before never felt like it was wasted. And again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I don't know if you create this little utopia for yourself of this passion, and then you kind of like gas yourself out, and before you know it, you like realize like, damn, I'm not that good at this, right? But it never felt like time. It felt more like a hobby. Some things did consume you more than other things.
Of course.
But again, the good thing is, if I had to say one takeaway from each trait that I didn't excel in, taught you a little more about yourself and helped you for, like I'll give you an example, like the athlete, the football player that in the off season wrestles or run tracks, like those traits, he might not be the best at track or wrestling, but he can kind of gather those traits and use them which is what I mentioned earlier, turning from a master of none into a master of one. And in a nutshell, what that means is before, traits didn't align. Now, if you can align those traits, I'll give you an instant. Now that I own the photography and videography company, anything that to me, I feel falls under the umbrella of graphic design and content creation, video, photos, those are still multifaceted traits, but they still fall under the same core theme of videography. Before, the old Jack, right, quote unquote, used to be left, right, up, down, things that didn't align, and that's the old master of none,
Okay.
So I get, and I've heard, how people have found themselves by finding what their passion is, what they like, right? And oftentimes we find ourselves to not be the best in a particular thing, right? So there was this famous comedian, and the name slips me right now, but I'll get it to you guys. He was not the funniest, right? And he knew he wasn't the funniest in the world, but he knew he could make people laugh. Okay, so then what else did he know? Oh, he was also an artist. Okay, well, now he's a comedian that can also draw. Okay, so now he's kind of finding his niche, right? What he likes. Oh, he also had experience in sales, so he can do comedy about sales and he can draw about it. So now he created his own little comic strip, and then he sold it to the newspaper, and then that's how he made his business and made his living off of that. So it's not necessarily being the best in something that's mainstream. It's finding what you're best at in a smaller market, in where you fit in, right? And this goes into one of what I learned in college is you have two choices, right? When it comes into marketing, is you can be a little fish in a big pond, or you could be a big fish in a little pond. And at that point, it's what do you prefer?
Yeah, so that example you gave is the epitome of what I mean by the new jack of all trades. So you have a multifaceted person, right? And this artist, comedian / salesperson, right? He used all of his traits that coincide with one another and created this beautiful package. And that all falls under the umbrella of entertainment.
Of course.
Right? So that's what I mean by you can still be a master of one with multiple traits under the umbrella, but not the old jack of all trades. For example, if he was a comedian who also wanted to be, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here, who also wanted to be a pilot. Like, those things are far extreme, right?
And we're about to land straight down.
Oh,
wow, there's no joke.
So there's only so many jokes you can
say on a plane.
Exactly. So those are the extremities. I mean, I use probably a horrible analogy, but what I mean is like,
you got the point.
Yeah, but I got the point across. Don't be A to Z, right? Don't be so far distance from your traits. Try your traits to be more, I guess, let them more complement each other.
Of course. And that's how you can.
I use in the book. I use Dr. Dre. He's the best example for me. Someone with a music background, right? Who now created his own entertainment company. Who now created beats. And that to me is like the perfect example of being a jack of all trades. Like, you have a background in music, and now you're like one of the richest person in the music industry because you use your platform to sell an accessory that had to do with music. He's not selling basketballs. No. He's not selling clothing, which he can because it still falls on entertainment. But he did something that really, 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 complements his craft, his industry.
Got a backing behind a bunch of different athletes that now use his product.
Exactly.
And made it even more.
Then got bought out by Apple.
Exactly.
Boom.
That's how you do it. You sky high and then sell real high.
So now, I had someone reach out and they asked, is like, well, one and done or one specialist, right, can kind of be a handicap in your life, right? Because let's say you're just let's say you're just an artist, right? You just do music. All you know is singing. You don't know any other aspect of life. And then once your time to shine, your 15 minutes of fame is over,
Yeah.
then what? Since you have no other specialties, no
contingencies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So at that point, a jack of all trades would kind of be more beneficial because now you can pivot and go somewhere else.
So
right?
so I never want to shun a specialist because in every walks of life we still need people that their core focus is a specialty. For
Of
example, corny as it sounds, let's say you have a heart problem. You would like to go to the best heart cardiovascular
Yeah.
doctor,
Exactly.
not the doctor that is a physician that knows a little bit about everything, right?
Yeah,
You wanna
yeah,
go
of
to-
course.
So in that regards, a specialist will always shine, right?
Of course.
But now we have to take a look at our current workforce, right? Everyone nowadays has to be equipped with so many different talents, which is why we live in such a competitive, day and age, because everyone has multiple skills. And of course, we still haven't seen how that weighs out, but to answer your question as best as I can, I think a generalist is really cool because, like you said, you use the right word. They can pivot and pretty much are like indestructible. Like they can just find their niche anywhere they land. They always land on their feet like a cat, right?
Of course.
But a specialist is so awesome because they dedicated their time, their craft to learn solely about this thing. And it might not get them the notoriety and the fame,
course.
but they're the man at that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, of course.
like,
Go-to.
they're the go-to,
Here's the thing. Do you think that if you're a jack of all trades, you're betting against yourself?
In what sense?
Because a specialist is saying, I'm all in on this.
By the way, we can also say Jane of all trade. 'Cause a
Jane.
female, right? So for those that
I
feel
mean,
like,
Bae's
Jack or
not
Jane.
here, but yeah, we
All
can
right.
say James.
So, a Jane of all trades would be betting against themselves when a person who's a specialist just focusing on one thing is saying, I'm putting all my chips in this and I'm
Yeah.
fully invested into this.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's somebody betting against themselves when they're a jack of all trades?
Oh, you're saying if someone's a jack of all trades,
They're betting against themselves.
in a way like they're losing?
In essence, yeah, because they're not saying I'm gonna be the best in this, right?
Oh, okay.
You get me?
I see what you mean. So yes, good question. So I think the old jack of all trades definitely is saying that. Since I'm mediocre, I'm just killing time.
I'm not gonna go to it. I'm not gonna bet it.
But the new jack of all trades, right, says, I maybe I'm great at this, maybe I'm not the best, but I'm multi-talented. I'm multifaceted. I can create a little empire. I can have multiple arms and multi traits and multi abilities. Now, I hate to use the word multitask because that's not what I'm not saying you need to do these things at the same time because we all know we can't effectively multitask. But if you're a great salesman and a marketer and an artist, right, and like you said, artist, comedian, that's a great that's a three-headed monster right there.
Yep.
You know how to sell your stuff, craft your stuff, right, and be funny with your stuff.
Yeah.
That right there.
No, I completely agree. I just feel like as long as the new jack of all trades is
discipline,
good at something,
Yeah.
or even great at something, not the best, but great at something, and then has a bunch of other factors around it that are good, I would always choose that person over the person that is just the best.
Because you're cheaper.
Not in every sense,
Oh,
of course.
oh,
remember,
okay.
Not in every sense, you know.
Remember,
Cheaper.
the word best
You know.
is also very relative,
Mhm.
right? You can be the best for 3 years. Yeah, you might be better than me for 3 years, but I can be working hard, and now it's my time to be the best,
Exactly.
right? Or to
Yep.
him, me and you might not even be the best. So the word best is also very relative.
And also, the person that's the best is also very relative. Depends on the person and who you think is the best. You know, like Jordan and LeBron, Kobe.
And we all know the best is Jerry West.
So, segue into that. How important do you think time management is, as far as regarding, let's say, if you do have all these traits and honing in on which one to focus on?
How do you become a jack of all trades and then still maintain your skill level on everything? It must be really difficult, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, it gets very overwhelming, and I think it's up to you to have that epiphany or that reflective moment, that introspective moment to be like, I think I'm wasting time here. There's nothing more for me here.
Yeah,
nothing more for me here. You know what I'm saying?
Now, do you think you should go to the furthest amount of time that you find out that, okay, there's nothing more for me, or do you think
it depends how much you love what you're doing, right? Okay. Let's say you I don't know, let's say you're pursuing boxing, right? You go to the gym every day and you just start realizing that every time you spar you're getting knocked out. Maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that why you stop?
But yeah, but if you have the eye of the tiger and you really want to do it, that's now you're gambling on yourself, right? Are you going to spend the next 5 years trying to be the best, or you can hang up the gloves now, move on to the next one, or just move on to the most
something else.
Yeah. But it is finding purpose. The jack of all trades is finding your purpose. Maybe not as fast as you can, because I don't want to say the word as fast as you can, because now you're creating this reality where you need to find it fast. But I always, even in the book, I go back to this author, which inspired me as well, called Meg J. She says, the book is called The Defining Decade, Why Your 20s Are Your Most Important Years. And what she says is, in your 20s to your 30, the decisions you make there, the money you make from your 20s to your 30, will impact the rest of your life. There's a lot more things that I don't want to get into. But delaying the process of purpose is more detrimental as opposed to quickly. I don't even want to say accelerated or expeditiously, but you do need to go out there every day and try to see what your purpose is. Like you need to, you know?
I think and that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, it is hard. I'm not preaching that it's easy.
I know that, I always wanted to be a baseball player, but when I got to college and I couldn't do my thing, I had to, be like, you know what? Maybe it's time to hang it up.
Yeah.
And pursue something else.
And I'm a firm believer that we can solve.
No.
And I'm a firm believer that your career is only like 1/3 of your purpose. Like we need to stop using our career as our only purpose. Like for example, maybe I won't go back to our career. Maybe I won't say it, but like I'll share. I'm an educator, right? I love teaching. It's not the only thing I was born to do. Yeah. Right?
But a lot of people identify that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you should, but I think it's only 1/3. That's my belief, right? It could be 1/2, it could be 1/3, whatever you want it to be. But I don't think it should be 100% who you are. Your career, your profession should not be your complete identity.
Of course.
Right? No. I'm sure it'll probably bring you purpose and it'll bring you gratification. Of course it does, but it should not be your only purpose. Like we are not just born here.
So then why do you think people associate themselves with whatever their profession is first? Because when I ask, tell me about yourself. Oh, my name's Jose, I work for Samsung, I'm a supply chain analyst, or whatever. You get me? And that's the first thing
I say, actually.
Well, your profession is important. I'm not discrediting it. And the reason why people identify with it, I believe, is because it's a status thing.
Of course.
Right, it's a status thing. Tell me what you're doing, I'll tell you how much I'm going either to listen or respect you.
Of course.
Right? So it's not a bad thing to identify with your profession. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm saying that it can't be your only purpose.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, because to be honest, that's probably like the last thing I say.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm identifying myself or speaking
about myself. So what's the first thing you say?
That I can't say.
What?
Because you gotta ask me. Because then
there you go.
Know.
There you go.
Hit me up, DM me, ask me. I'll tell you exactly what I say. I also know when when anybody asks a fun fact, I already know my fun fact to share with that.
What's the fun fact?
I don't have a fun fact.
You don't have a fun fact?
That's a fun fact. Go.
I have 4 piercings, and I have about 60% of my body tattooed. It might be more percentages.
I don't have a fun fact.
I guess
I don't have a fun fact.
I mean, it's a simple fun fact.
I feel like I'm pretty boring. I have no problem admitting that.
I mean, COVID did that to a lot of people.
Huh?
COVID did that to a lot of
At least
people.
one.
Left me with that boy.
That boy, yeah.
I like to say everything.
Nobody's ever hit me up before, anyways. Nothing's changed.
I just feel like I like to say everything prior to like my career, and then say, "Oh, I'm a cop," and I'm like, "Oh, well, you don't look like a cop. What does a cop look like?"
They
just
look like
when-
they have a bunch
when
of
they be
tattoos
like,
and
"Oh,"
4
when
piercings.
people be like, "Oh, you're Puerto Rican," right? I'm like, "No, I'm Dominican." "Oh, you don't look Dominican." I'm supposed to have like a plátano. You feel me? Like, I just like that.
I gotta say, you do look Puerto Rican.
Thank you.
You do look Puerto Rican.
'Cause I get that like 3 or 4 times a day.
It happens. All right, so going back to being a master of something, do you think what's the biggest advantage of it, right? Because I call it a competitive advantage, right? In the global markets, each country has a competitive advantage. That's how they do trades and all that stuff. Businesses have their competitive advantage, and I think people should have their competitive advantage as to what makes them one of one, Dr. Pepper. So,
One of
Little
23.
little plug-in.
Maybe 23.
Set a caseload.
So, how important is that competitive advantage, do you think? And I guess it kind of goes back to identifying that.
The competitive advantage of what? About being a jack of all trades?
Of being, no, your competitive advantage. Of Braulio, what makes Braulio Braulio, what people are going to want out of Braulio, what people are going to want out of the Hated Truth, right? What people are going to want out of Us To You Digital, right? What's the competitive advantage, right? What makes us special? What do we bring? And stuff like that. So how can people identify that?
Nah, like I said, that's all introspective, but you know, it's not easy finding purpose. And the beautiful thing about purpose is, believe it or not, I'm a firm believer also that purpose can change. You know, you can have purpose for 5 years, your 5-year plan, and then that purpose now either manifests into a new purpose. But I think, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe it can be unhealthy going from a right-wing purpose to a left-wing purpose, like completely different. Maybe it could be, you know, too consuming. But as human beings, we constantly are in pursuit of something. Right? So, you know, it is important to have that competitive edge. It's what makes us, right? It's what makes us different, what makes you unique, what makes you marketable. So absolutely is important.
And what is it that I say? Adapt, evolve, overcome.
Yep. All the words that are on.
No, stop saying that.
on the wall.
Words to live by.
They're on
You
the
know who
walls
did
everywhere.
adapt, evolve, and overcome? Blockbuster.
I know that was
Blockbuster. Kodak.
I know exactly.
Kodak.
Oh my God.
Yo, no, it's true. You think about it, and it goes back to what you say. You have to pivot on your purpose sometimes, or it can change, you know, instantly for yourself. It doesn't have to be like the world's changing for you to want to say, hey, we have a new purpose now, and this is the direction we want to go in. But if you don't adapt and evolve and overcome, then you're just gonna get stuck behind, and you know.
Like LA Fitness.
Whoa, LA Fitness still around.
So I do want to share some things that I forgot to kind of say, that it still revolves around jack of all trades. And I actually had this conversation about 2 days ago with my friend, and maybe I have a hard time articulating. But for example, now more than ever.
Try to make it as simple as possible for you to be able to articulate that, you know?
So for example, we now more than ever are being faced with so much impulse and distraction and stimuli, right? So for example, I'll give you an example of what I mean. Sometimes this is why the jack of all trades is difficult. It's difficult to defeat. I say defeat because I feel like it's in us, right? There's always a something. I'm gonna say a little kid in us, constantly pulling us to different things that that our mind says to ourselves, you can do that too, or you should do that, or why don't you do that, or you got the time to do that, right? What I want to say is sometimes we log on to social media, right? And I'm using social media because it's such an important part of our lives. And let's say you pick up the phone in the morning when you wake up. And as soon as you wake up, you're hit with 5 to 10 different emotions that you didn't even want to feel that day. For example, someone's story has someone that passed away.
Yep.
The next story is someone twerking. The story after that is a GoFundMe. The next story after that is a motivational quote. So in a matter of a 30-second to a minute time span, you just got hit with 5 different emotions
That's Chulo's story every day.
you know, that you weren't even sure if you wanted, that you weren't even sure if your body wanted to absorb, right?
Yeah.
So now you have to kind of entertain these emotions, and you're fighting and you're challenged to kind of like just channel yourself and optimize yourself.
Of course.
It's the same thing with the jack of all trades. Is fitting all these emotions and these desires and these impulses, and you kind of have to just like start eliminating the distraction.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Focus.
You have to just start eliminating the distraction and see what path is gonna lead you to, again, your purpose.
Right. Well, also social media releases dopamine in the body. That's the reason why you're so addicted to it. But I feel like when you find that spark, when you're bouncing around, I feel like you're releasing dopamine into your body as well. You're trying to stimulate what you want to do. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to go here. I want to go there. And then you have to figure out. You have to be realistic with yourself. I feel like is what I got from that. Is that you have to be understanding in what you can and cannot do, and then go do what you can, or all the cans.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, the key.
all the cans. You know.
It's finding yourself, right? Self-identity, finding yourself.
So, I know we touched about a little bit about your business. Maybe you can elaborate on it a little bit, and then I'll ask you my next question about COVID, since
Yeah.
that's
So,
always a great topic.
so like I mentioned earlier, simultaneous as my book was self-published at the same time that it was released, I officially became a business with my business partner. And at that moment, I decided that I'm gonna just, not focus on the book, but still live by those words that I just self-published, and just focus. I just want to see what happens if I commit to something without no distractions, and just go hit it hard, right?
Yeah.
So I invested my time, my money, everything that I could into the business, and it paid off. It paid off. It not only was it my purpose, but I just started realizing, like, wow, we're actually freaking pretty good businessmen. We're pretty organized. So you start kind of having this self-discovery, and at the same time having self-worth and self-value. And then you start saying to yourself, like, damn, I could have been doing this way before.
The whole time.
I could have been doing this way before. But, sometimes time was so important, because maybe if I would have had a business at 21, I wouldn't have been as professional.
Yeah.
Or as organized, or as serious. So timing was important too, right? Timing was important too. But yeah, the business really got me out of my funk. And now I have capital ID, which is what I mentioned earlier. Now when you say Victor or Nelson, you think photography, videography.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you might say Jack too, you know what I'm saying? But either or.
I definitely say Jack.
Right? So either or. Yeah. Don't say Jane. So yeah, that's where we at. That's where we at with that.
Okay. So with your business, and you said it was going great and everything like that.
Still going great.
It's still going great.
Yeah. Better than ever. Actually, this is our best year. Yeah, so far.
After COVID.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So how did COVID affect you guys as far as what you do?
I don't think it affected us. Yeah, people weren't having weddings, but they still had micro weddings. And what was really cool about COVID, it was a time of reflection for all of us, right? It was a time to assess, evaluate, replan, redesign. We learned a lot about ourselves, fix logistics, focus on things that we didn't even know needed some tweaking, right?
Yep.
But the cool thing is, now kind of, I don't want to say post-COVID, but as we are working our way towards that, a lot of people feel like they were deprived from that year of COVID. By deprived, I mean just having a grand old time.
Of course.
Right? A wedding is a celebration. It's an amazing celebration, whether you have your reservations about it, but that it's too expensive or not, that's up to you. But, beyond all that, it is one of people's greatest days of their lives. You can't relive that moment with the person you love the most. Nelson and I take full pride that we get selected to document one of people's biggest days, and we do a hell of a job doing it, So COVID, like I said, COVID kind of helped us level up,
Gotcha. So what did you guys actually do during COVID as far as like setting aside time to actually focus on your craft? Like, did you guys plan like, okay, well, we have this time, let's focus on getting working on this or working on that? Like, did
Yeah.
you guys pick up new techniques? Like,
Yeah. So
like, what did you do as far as your craft?
Yeah, so I can compartmentalize it as best as I can. So, we will have like certain months where we focus strictly on marketing, right? It's so important nowadays because now, like you guys are using the word best. Creators will tell you there's a lot of amazing creators out there. It's not about who's the best, right? It's important. It's about who's seen most.
Yep, whose name
You
is
can
out
be
there.
the best photographer, videographer, and me as a creator, I'm gonna love your work, but you're shy and you don't market yourself well. He's okay. He can fend for himself, got good gear, but he knows how to market himself. He's out, he's about,
Yep.
he has a following. Most people are gonna go with him because he's on Main Street. I mean that figuratively.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So we worked on marketing. We worked on what's that word? Mail marketing, right?
Yep.
So we work on mail campaigns. Sorry, mail campaigns. Just a lot of things that we don't pay attention to when we're in the hustle and bustle of wedding
course.
season. Little details that go overlooked.
So you pretty much said that you took advantage of COVID
I
just to
mean,
level up.
You had to, right? COVID was everything for everybody. It was sad. It had so many ups. We all felt so many emotions, and then throughout all that emotion, you have to find something in there that still inspires you, challenges you, motivates you, right? Gives you again purpose. And I use the word purpose a lot because Napoleon's Hill, Outwitting the Devil. If you read that book, it's all about purpose. That's how you like.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. So actually, I actually never read it. I did the audio book. So
That's what I do.
Oh, okay.
Just play it in my car.
I think I could do that.
Just play it in my car while I'm driving from point A to B. Right?
Yep.
So
And listen.
listen.
I mean, we tried to level up, but
What? I have no idea what he's saying.
You said that question was for you to guilt trip.
Yeah, you see that, right?
I mean, it wasn't his fault, that he was dying. But we
Yeah,
did
the whole
use our
COVID year,
well,
we took off.
So what's funny is
But we
when
took advantage of it
he was
afterwards.
going through what he was going through, and I knew that he was finally on his way to recovery. I sent him a video, and I was like, "Yo, I know you've been trying to leave my fantasy league. This is not the way you leave. There's other ways,
I would never leave that auto win league.
Auto draft.
Auto draft
Auto
wins.
draft wins.
No, it's auto win for me.
But I mean, we did what we could. I wouldn't say it was post COVID because technically we're still in kind of like post COVID now going into it. So I mean, we did a little thing. We came back, got the collective juices, and focused on how to level up.
And thanks to all that, we're able to bring you all this content, bring you guests like Vic, who we really appreciate being here today with us. Is there anything else you want to say? Any last words?
Yeah, I do. True.
And how they can find you and follow you, and
Sure,
if they have to reach out to
AKA
you.
shameless plugs.
Yeah. What that means?
Oh, pretty much like shameless.
Like
plugs.
plugging in?
No, like just like say your at name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a little
Stuff like
watch.
that.
Yeah.
I'm a little watch. I live in my own bubble sometimes. So, my
Nelson's
final,
right.
yeah, Nelson's right about you. So, my final words are to anyone who's out there that is having doubts about either starting their own business, profiting from their passion, profiting from their pastime, probably want to quit their 9-to-5 and transition into, a hobby turn full time. I would still advise. Well, actually, I'll scrap that. But what I want to say is, do it. You can do it. I didn't know what I was capable of with how I can be a businessman with no business background, with no background in photography, videography, with no background in creative marketing, content marketing, none of that stuff. I can keep going with fancy titles, but there's so many resources out there for you to level up. It is out there. You just gotta go get it. If you have time and you really want to do it and you have passion, there are so many free or even paid resources, seminars, sessions, mentors that really want to help. We live in a day and age where the only way that other creators or businesses grow is if they provide information. So to you I say, take advantage of that information, use it towards your advantage, and level up every single day. My name is Victor Alamani. My IG is @Cafecito Black with no K. And my business handle, social media handle, is Us to You Digital Studios. I wish everyone the best of luck. Thank you to the Hated Truth, Braulio and Bello for having me. And
as always, hate it.